During Steam Summer Next Fest, I played a wide assortment of demos, but was still unable to play everything I wanted as it is only a 2-week event, and some developers strictly adhere to that time frame. I was unable to get hands-on experience with higher profile releases like Mina the Hollower or Hotel Barcelona. This ended up being a blessing in disguise as the demos I played instead were some of the most interesting I covered. One of these titles was Caput Mortum by Wild Arts Games. The residents of a small village have disappeared, and it's up to you to find out what happened to them by descending deeper and deeper into a subterranean alchemist lab. You soon discover that something is very wrong here and we're dealing with more than just missing villagers. It won't take long to unravel the mystery as the game is only about 2 to 3 hours long, but it uses its runtime very effectively. The game is roughly divided into a series of descending floors, each feeling distinctive with their own puzzles and enemies, creating a very classical survival horror experience. The game's design is not the only thing classical about it, as it feels like it was plucked straight from an experimental PS1 game that required an original DualShock. You control your view with the triggers and shoulder buttons, while the right analog stick controls the movement of your hand like a mouse cursor. Apologies if my footage seems unwieldy at times, as it was tricky to unlearn a quarter-century of first-person game design. Someone more experienced with antiquated controls would come to grips with it much quicker, especially if they're familiar with From Software's PS1 titles. There's more than a little Kingsfield and Echo Knight in the DNA of this game, but it is certainly more of an inspiration than a blueprint. You can really feel it during combat as you position yourself to either strafe or shuffle to avoid the simplistic enemy attacks. Combat is by no means the focus of the game though, as the number of enemies you fight can be counted with your fingers, and there's enough enemy variety to keep it from becoming too stale. Most of the time you'll be figuring out the game's puzzles, but it's nothing crazy if you're well versed in survival horror. Some may argue that a game being scary is the most important aspect of the horror genre, but I'd argue its atmosphere, something Caput Mortum has plenty of. The alchemic murals covering the lab's cobwebbed walls, the countless dusty books and mysterious jars cluttering the shelves, and the ransacked rooms that haven't been used for quite some time, really gives the impression that the people here were performing immoral experiments using science you can never understand, and that they paid the price for messing with the natural order. I think Caput Mortum is a game fans of survival horror should check out, but it's not something I could recommend to everyone. The control scheme is bound to cause friction, and I would understand if certain players didn't have the patience for it. However, as someone who fell in love with PS1 era survival horror titles, in part because of their now clunky controls, I admire the decision to make players work a little harder in the moment-to-moment gameplay, especially when the reward for doing so is a well-paced, unique experience. Caput Mortum is available on Steam for $12 USD. If you purchase and play this game, please be sure to leave a review on the store page to further help out the developers. I love indie games, and while I can't possibly play all of them, I love seeing what smaller devs are putting out. If you know of any indie game that would appeal to the same audience as this one, please discuss it in the comments below. Word of mouth can be a powerful tool to help pull a small title from obscurity, and I'm sure the devs would appreciate it too.